Capítulo 1. Artículos y sustantivos. Nouns and articles, Chapter 1. Before we talk about nouns and articles and how they work in Spanish, we need to discuss gender and what we mean by this. It basically means that all nouns in Spanish are categorized as being either feminine or masculine. And we also have to remember that a lot of times there really is no rhyme or reason as to why some words are masculine while other words are feminine. They're just kind of categorized randomly a lot of times. But we need to remember that words that end in an A most often are feminine, and words that end in O are most often masculine. And when we talk about articles and nouns working together, we have to remember that they have to match each other. So the article that goes with a feminine word has to also be feminine, and I'll explain more what that means as we go on. But what if we have a word in Spanish, a noun that ends in an E or a consonant, which is a letter that's not a vowel? Well, in that case, we just have to memorize which ones are masculine and which ones are feminine, since there isn't an A or an O to give us a clue. The other important thing to remember when putting articles with nouns is number, and it basically means whether a noun is singular or plural. We know that singular means one and plural means more than one, and we'll see how that works. In English, we have the car. The is an article, and car is the noun. When we take car and we make it plural, the stays the same, but we add an S to cars to make it plural. Let's look at how it works in Spanish. El is the article. It means the. We say the car. But when we make this plural, we have to change the article and the noun. So we have los carros. So that's why it's important to remember number has to match just as well as gender. And this will become more clear as we go further through the video. First, let's start talking about indefinite articles. They're called indefinite articles because they're used to refer to something that's not specific or it's indefinite. For example, if I need a pencil, I would just say, I need a pencil. I don't need a specific pencil, I just need any random pencil. Versus if I were to say, I need the pencil that's on the table, then I'm talking about a specific pencil. So, indefinite articles are talking about non-specific nouns. And here are the indefinite articles in Spanish. Un is masculine and singular, so it goes with masculine and singular nouns. Una is feminine and singular. Unos is masculine and plural, and unas is feminine and plural. This is a list of examples of masculine nouns that are all singular. Chico means boy, amigo means friend, and profesor means professor. But these are all male. These are all masculine. You can tell because these end in an O. Profesor ends in an R, but if we're talking about a male professor, we know that it's masculine. Here are the same nouns, but this time they're plural. Notice how we have to make the article plural with an S on the end, as well as the nouns plural. And now we have some boys, some friends, some professors. And here's the same example, except these are all feminine. A girl, a friend, a professor. Now they're all plural. See how we've changed not only the noun with an S on the end to make it plural, but we've also added an S to the article. These are more examples of nouns that don't end in an O or A, and we have to just memorize that they're masculine versus feminine. We have a man, which is masculine. A class is a feminine noun, so we have to have a feminine article with it. Restaurants, masculine, so we have the masculine article. So hopefully this is beginning to click and make sense that we always have to have our article match our noun with gender and number. So, So I'll begin to go through the presentation a little bit faster, assuming that you understand noun and number and gender rather has to match between the article and the noun. Now these are all plural. And here are a couple examples that I'll go through real quick. Paco has a piece of paper. Again, this is an indefinite article because it's not a specific piece of paper, it's a random indefinite piece of paper. Paco tiene una hoja de papel. Notice how una and hoja are both feminine and singular. Marta wants a job. Marta quiere un trabajo. Both of these are masculine and singular. I need some books. Yo necesito unos libros. Now these are both masculine and plural. Now we can move on to discussing definite articles. These are called definite articles because they are specific things. This is an example of I need the pencil on the table. Not just a pencil at random, but I need a specific pencil. And here they are in Spanish. El, la, los, and las. So here we have our examples with all masculine words. We use el. Here we have the same word, the same nouns, but this time they're all plural. Here we have feminine nouns, and they're all feminine and singular. Now they're plural. And here we have our list of nouns that sometimes can be confusing because they don't end in O or A, and we have to just memorize. And now they're plural. So now that we've completed this video, we're near the end, let's do some quick practice. Up here at the top, 1 through 3, think about which definite article would go in the blank before the noun. Think about what your 3 answers will be, and when you're ready to see if you're right, press play. Okay, now it's time for the correct answers. For number 1, you should have la computadora. For number 2, los muchachos. For number 3, el profesor. Now let's look at the second group of 3. This time we'll practice with indefinite articles. Pause the video, think about your 3 answers, and when you're ready to hear the correct answers, press play. Here are the answers. Number 1, una computadora. Número 2, unos muchachos. Número 3, un profesor. Muy bien.